Hey guys, Isaiah here from Goo Gaming, and I have Logan with me here today, and we are going to talk about Shannon Baxter's top 32 remote YCS Mekk-Knight list from this past weekend. I haven't seen Mekk-Knight's top in a long time, and I'm excited to see this. Shout out to Shannon. His YouTube will be down in the description. He plays Mekk-Knights all the time. He's a very strong player, really knows the deck. Also, want to let you guys know, make sure you hit the subscribe button. 88% of you are not subscribed, and once we hit 1,000 subs, we're going to do a massive giveaway. You want to make sure you're in that. Let's get into the video. All right, so hitting off with the list, he's playing 3 Gearsu, 3 Blue Sky, 3 Purple Nightfall, an Indigo, a Red Moon, a Yellow Star, a Green Horizon. I feel like this is just going to be mostly standard for your Mekk-Knight list, if that is standard. All the cards are very powerful. If you don't know what the Mekk-Knights do, when there's multiple cards in a column, you can special summon them. They all have different effects. I feel like he just really caught people off guard with this because everyone's building these huge boards, and not a lot of people are respecting columns anymore. So, like, just go second, and then they make these big boards, and he just starts slapping monsters on them.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of people, especially in remote duels, don't pay attention to like small things. Like it's hard to pay attention to column placement and stuff because you're not sitting across from your opponent. It's a lot harder to like realize that you're setting something in the same column. So you probably got to take advantage of that a lot. Also, like just the power of Gearsu, man. This card's super powerful. It's unfortunate that we haven't really had it like break out yet. Like the OCG had it with whenever they still had Harp. We never had those two cards together, so it's finally like good to see this card actually getting to like shine because this card's super good.
Then he plays the World Chalice, World Legacy, just for the combo with Ib. Going on to his hand traps, he plays 3 Nib, 3 Gamma, and 2 Ogre. With the Nib and the Gamma, he can really take advantage of these because he's most of the time going second. So like you want these high impact hand traps in your hand so he can just stop whatever is the problem for him and then just spam the Mekk-Knights on the board. And then Ogre's just really, really strong against Praying Kids and the Brave Engine itself. So I feel like the Brave Engine is probably a problem for him. So just stopping them from getting the Omni to get on the board just helps him a lot.
Yeah, and if you notice, all of his hand traps help resolve Nib, which I think is really important.
And then for some consistency cards, he plays 3 Prosperity and he plays the 3 World Legacy Memory to special summon his Mekk-Knights from his hand or deck. I feel like this is pretty good. I don't think you need any more. Like Prosperity just gets you whatever you don't have, and then the special summon for free is pretty good too.
Yeah, it's just 3 telly for his deck.
And he's playing 2 Lightning Storm. We notice here that he's not playing Droplet at all, and that could be because he's not afraid of Scythe, but I feel like he's probably still worried about the Omni negates, so maybe he doesn't have droplets, but I feel like he could definitely put Droplet in here and maybe see a little bit more, like not have to worry so much about the Omni negates.
It could be also that like his deck just can't afford to discard multiple cards. Because he uses like most of his cards to like stop his opponent from playing, and if he only has 3 cards, Droplet doesn't really work well.
Yeah, that's fair. And like the Mekk-Knights are just huge anyway. So the Mekk-Knights are just like inherit summons, so like, they don't activate, so you can just place them on the board, and then some of them you can like attack over the Omni negates if you need to, depending on what it is. So maybe he doesn't need the Droplet.
Yeah, and plus you don't really want to draw Droplet against like Herald of Arclight, I guess.
And he plays 1 World Legacy Key and 1 World Legacy Succession. Now, these cards are very, very strong in the deck. I don't think you need to play more than one of these.
Yeah, you don't really want to draw them. I think the only reason you play 2, I may be wrong, is just in case you draw one of them, so you have another one to search. But I may be wrong about that.
Then he plays the 1 Called By. I would assume he's just playing this because like his deck isn't as vulnerable to hand traps as most decks, but like if he does get hit with an Ash on his search or something, I guess he could just stop it. But he could also hit like Scythe or DP with this when he's going second.
I'd say the main reason he plays this is probably because of Ghost Ogre. Because Ghost Ogre is actually very good against Mekk-Knights because if they get cleared from the column, they don't actually activate.
And then going on the Lightning Storms, he also plays a Harpy's Feather Duster. No reason really not to play it in your deck. If you do end up going against a backrow deck like Eldritch, it's just in there. You're going second anyway, so it doesn't hurt to have it in. Playing 3 Imperm for his other hand trap. People are also just scared of your columns. So like if you got all your columns set up, you can just set this, and then if they're trying to avoid your monsters, like where the columns are in or whatever, or put the cards in the columns that your monster's already in, is just strategically placing this card in this deck. I feel like it's better than most decks.
Yeah, you can kind of trap them into putting their floodgates in the wrong spot.
He's playing a 3 World Legacy Secret. This trap card is really strong in this deck. I don't see a reason not to play 3 of this card. I mean, you probably could cut one, just make it even 40, but this card is really, really strong in this deck.
Yeah, it's insane, actually.
Moving on to his side deck, a lot of this is going to be hand traps. He's playing the 3 Lancia. Card's just pretty strong in this format. Don't see why you wouldn't play it. The 2 Droll and the 2 Token Collector. Again, these are just going to be like power cards against decks that he's probably more scared of, like Drytron or the Roridon decks?
I would say he probably just didn't have room for three of one of them, so he decided 2-2. It also might be a side deck pattern thing where like he needs two of like something to help take out Gamma or something going first or whatever, because people are gonna make him go first since he's playing Mekk-Knights a lot of the time.
And then when he does decide to go first, or when they force him to go first, he is playing the Artifact Engine, which I can 100% see in this deck. You know, Mekk-Knights don't really have a real strong play going first, so you just set a Sanctum, then Scythe lock them. Most decks can't really do a whole lot, and then you just hit them with the Mekk-Knights and you're good to go. He's playing the one World Legacy Whispers. This card's pretty cool. It just negates all the spell effects that are in the columns as your Mekk-Knights. So, like, if he's playing against Striker and he just gets multiple Mekk-Knights on the board, they're very limited to where they can activate spells if they can activate any.
Yeah, this card's actually really good. I didn't even know this card existed before this deck profile, but it's actually really good.
He's playing the two-dimensional barrier, which a lot of people have moved away from. How do you feel about this card?
I think it's just like it's like another copy of Sanctum in some matchups, and that's the reason he's playing it, because his deck doesn't create a huge board going first, so he's just trying to like stop them to give himself another turn to OTK them or whatever.
Another thing with this deck is a lot of people don't see is he always wants to go second. So if he loses the die roll, then his opponent is just gonna most of the time in this format going to go first anyway. So he's just excited for that. And then if he does win the die roll and he goes second, most of the time people are probably going to think he's playing Sky Striker. So then when they build the board to quote stop Sky Striker, then he starts hitting them with Mekk-Knights. They're just not ready for it. So he's already game one. He's already prepared for. Game two is usually going to be probably his worst game because he's more than likely going to go first. And then game three, he's ready to go second. And then the last card, he's playing Red Reboot. Again, if you're playing against Trap deck and you open this card in this deck, you're probably going to kill them. Moving on to his extra deck, he's playing Mekk-Knight, Crusadia Evermax, an access code, my boy Spectrum Supreme. This card is insane.
Yeah, this card, some decks just don't have very many outs to this card.
He's playing 3 Lib, the World Key Blade Master, 2 of the Mekk-Knight Morning Stars, a Galatea, a Link Spider, a Link Rebo, a Zeus, and a Dingrisu. And he's playing the Baron and the Chaos Ruler. He's mostly going to use his hand traps for this. He doesn't really have another way to sink into him, but these are just 2 really strong synchros that you can make in the deck.
Yeah. Also, if you can make Baron going first, and it just really helps protect your board and help your like Sanctum and stuff resolve.
So guys, that was Shannon Baxter's top 32 from the remote YCS with Mekk-Knights. I think the deck is insane. I'm really glad to see it back in action. Congratulations to you, Shannon. Remember, his video and his YouTube channel will be down in the description, so make sure you check it out. He's a really credited Mekk-Knight player. He's very good, very knowledgeable with the deck. So if you want to play this deck and you want to hear some tips from him, make sure you check his videos out. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Make sure you hit subscribe once we hit 1,000. Massive giveaway. Don't forget that. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Peace.